What's going on, guys? Hope all is well. Kind of how I'm hanging out over here with my boy Steve, kind of just having some great conversations. And, we were like talking. I'm like, dude, why don't we just record this, right? Go live and talk about what we're talking about. A lot of people, inquiring minds, want to know what SEO guys talk about, right? So, but again, without any further ado, please give you the opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm Steven. I've been doing SEO for a little over 5 years now. I used to be in a roofing company and I oversaw the marketing among other stuff. And that's what got me into marketing and SEO and been able to see some really fun results with that. So
Nice.
yeah, just been talking about SEO.
So when you talk about roofing companies, I mean, that's a specific niche. And one thing that I talk about all the time, I have this podcast I do with a friend of mine, and I'm always kind of looking to talk with many business owners as I deal with them. We talk a lot about, niching down. What is your product? What are you trying to do? Not try to do it all. We know you could do it all, but at the end of the day, it's like, what are you trying to niche down at? And people don't realize that, if there was a point in time that Nike only had one product or one major product, and yet they have all these additional things now today, the clothing, the shorts, the everything, the different lines of sneakers, the types of sneakers, so on. But they went down, they niched in. So niching in is always a good idea. So let me ask you, man, let's say, for example, I have quite a few people that watch my videos, which is a good thing here and across on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, I'm gonna ask you guys who's watching this, subscribe, take a minute and like the video. If you feel that the content in this channel is good, then like it. I know that if it's that good, that you'll subscribe. But if it's not that good, then why would you subscribe, right? That's how I am. So I'm just I have to stay transparent as I try to be all the time. So with that being said, so if I was a company, one thing that people want to know, they want to know, man, okay, you got two SEO guys, what is the easiest thing that they don't have to hire someone like you or me and pay money to do this SEO stuff? Are there any quick wins that they could kind of take advantage of preparing to, hire an SEO person at one point when they make the money? So you have any tips you can send out there at all or no?
Well, there are a lot of, depending on what platform your website was built on.
Okay.
Let's say it was built on something like Wix or something similar to that. There's normally some SEO tools in there and they'll give you pointers. So if you go into the back end of your website and look for anything that says SEO, normally there'll be something that says, hey, fill in this blank, fill in that blank. And that will kind of get you started.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's good. And it's Squarespace, Wix, Shopify, again, all those different CMSs, and what CMS stands for is content management systems. So again, I'm a big WordPress guy. So all I do is I do a lot of WordPress, but I don't want to convey that everything else is horrible, because people know I don't like the other ones. I don't, because it's just so much additional work. But having the others, there's things that you could do to help optimize your content. It's all about content. Just so you guys know, you may not realize and understand that, guess what? I have a website. It's not ranking. Why it's not ranking? What is it doing? Are you treating it like you would treat your property, your storefront? In your storefront, you're making sure that the floors are clean, right? You're making sure your employees are there to serve people, all those things. And some people have this set it and forget it mentality when it comes to the web for whatever reason.
I gotta say something. You mentioned like a storefront, and when somebody sets up their store, they position all of their merchandise in a strategic way. Like when you first walk in the door, you want to have something that's seasonal, maybe like at the front of the store. When they're checking out, you want to have something little that they can quickly throw in their bag and purchase, Exactly. So same thing with the website. You got to have like the right things in the right place. Otherwise, the customer won't know where to go. They won't know what they're looking at. There's a whole lot more to the website than just set it and forget it, like you said. And there's another thought. Okay, I did have a question though. You said that you prefer WordPress.
Yes.
And for those who are watching that use WordPress and they want to figure out SEO, whenever I've used WordPress, I always have a plugin that helps guide me through SEO and kind of watches what I'm doing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, because I'm in the developer world, right? So I have a team of people that, we do these websites together, right? I know a certain amount of stuff that I know, but again, I have a team. I have to have a team. And sometimes my team, they don't know the SEO portion of my business. So one thing that I would tell anyone is, go to your website. And when you go to your website, look at it and look at the first page, which is called above the fold, right? When you get there and you like log in and you look at it on your phone, or you look at it on your desktop, on your iPad, whatever you look at it, you look at that. What does it say? If it doesn't say what you do, you're already starting off wrong. So again, and this is in WordPress, and WordPress, it's like buying a car, right? And when you buy the car, you want to get all the features. And these plugins are little features you put into the site. There's stuff that could be done custom based or plugin based. And sometimes people say, you know what, I'm not going to have this car retrofitted, so it has to be like that forever. I want to just add a plugin so I can use it, maintain it, and whatever, and then take it out whenever I want to take it out, if necessary, because it's an open software and it's more suspect to hacks than other platforms. And it's like, so that's not great, right? It's not. But since half of the world, more than half, less than half, the internet world is using WordPress, it makes it the most explosive CMS system that you can integrate so many things with it. Not to mention, when someone comes up to us and says, hey, man, I want to get a website, so on, and I want to write a blog. I want a blog. I want a blog. I don't want a website. I want a blog. And I have to tell them, I said, let me just tell you something. A blog is a website. Like, what? Well, yeah, a blog is where you're kind of taking that content of, instead of writing about something, you're putting your services and your business information on there as you are a blog. And now you're creating pages onto it as well. Again, and that's what creates a website. And the reason why I'm so in love with WordPress, because I feel that there's zero limitations versus the other ones. They have a lot of limitations. Again, and me being a developer, I'm always looking at ways where how can we win to be able to be better than the other guy. So I'm always gearing towards people and says, hey, we got to talk WordPress. We got to talk WordPress. But at the end of the day, some people take it because it's cheaper. And WordPress is one of the cheapest platforms out there. One of them, because WordPress gives you the opportunity of having a free website because you can have one without having paying a hosting company, because WordPress is self-hosting. Versus the Shopify, versus the Squarespace or the Wix, those examples of Wix and Squarespace, then guess what? You have to pay a monthly fee for that, and which is your hosting. So again, there's so many variables when it comes one to the other. It's like, oh my goodness, it's quite a bit. So, and I'm still learning, as things I don't know, and I'm kind of reaching out to people like you who know a lot of stuff and just trying to get that information even further. So, but that's what I'm always putting my hat on.
I wanted to go back and just share with everyone what you and I were talking about, like before the call. We were looking at this website, and the very first word at the top of the website, we went to one of their service pages and it came up with the word siding. And siding is what you put on the outside of your house. It didn't, and that's like a product, but this company was actually trying to promote the fact that they replaced siding or they repaired siding. And so we talked about how even that word, when it comes to SEO, almost every word counts. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be very strategic in your words. So what that company should have done is they should have put siding repair or siding replacement, as opposed to just siding, because Google is a computer. It's not a human. So it doesn't fill in all the blanks. So Google looks at the text, whereas you and I look, obviously Google looks at the pictures and the whole thing as well. But what I'm saying is that, like, Google looks at the word, and if it just sees siding, it might think that your website is a siding supplier as opposed to somebody who repairs siding. So
I mean, and just to back what you're saying is that when we did a search, what came up the first one or two are hardware stores that sell siding, so it's like, wait a second, but people don't realize that. So I want to challenge everyone that's watching this that you may have a website, again, look at it and see what it says when you land on it. Again, if it says that one thing, chances are that robot that we call Google, that we rely on, It's thinking that that's what we're providing, that's what we're selling. So why would it give you a client that's looking for sliding services if you don't even have it laid out correctly for them? So Google is a robot. And then again, in the robot, with all these little things that we do for SEO helps it rank. It was not just going to rank because it's going to rank. It's just not the way it is. It's going to rank because there's so much competition, as we know. But there's so many people doing it bad. It's crazy how bad people are doing it. And again, and people like me, where all my clients know that I have their back. I have their process, their business in my mind. And if we can enhance it in one way, where it's something as simple as making an adjustment, we'll do it at no charge with our clients.
So what are some, you said that some SEO people do it really poorly. What are some common mistakes that you see?
Sure. I tell you, man, you see how you didn't want to talk. Now you want to talk. You see how this happens, right? So they would actually label the page that you're going to as home. So now whenever someone does a search for their business, it says home. It doesn't say their business. It doesn't say what they do or whatever have you. Again, and that's mistake number one. If you look at your website and the first largest word is your business, you're wrong. Because who cares about your business? The people don't know who your business are who's doing the search. What they care about is getting the service.
Is there any way for you to demonstrate that on the screen now? If not, I'm just trying to think, because when people hear the word home, like you and I are thinking of a specific place where that's showing up.
Sure.
But up in the URL, for example, your website is myawesomebusiness.com /what, that's where some people would even put the word home,
Yeah. Since they don't know what they're doing, this is what would happen. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to show you a good example of, and I'm going to, of course, go to where? My site, right? So we can kind of practice what we preach, So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick, and then we're going to come here to the site. Let me know if you can see my site.
Yep, perfect.
Perfect. Let me move us out of there, which I think we're there. Let me move this over here. So with that being said, as you can see, what am I trying to rank for? Do you see that or no? Can you see what I'm trying to rank for?
Yeah, web design and digital agency.
I mean, look at it's obvious, right? And then if you look up here to where the tabs are at, way on top over here, you see over here, let me move this out of the way as well. I mean, again, at this tab as well, it shows some information in there as well. You see that? Again, these are very important attributes that's happening. So this is the largest text on this page as we speak.
So let me just say that when you put that large text there, you're not just communicating to the user, you're also communicating to Google.
There you go.
And that's what's important.
Right, because
some people want to have their website and they want it to communicate something they're passionate about. Like, yes. I love the community in my company, but that's not my service.
That's right.
And so you're confusing Google and the user if you don't put who you are, what you do, where you do it right away on the homepage.
You got it. So again, and people don't realize that, every information you put on it, even on this world we live in with tags for search engines, if you put that you are a web developer, please be a web developer. If you're going to put sliding, for example, guess what? You should actually put a descriptive to it, an action on what it is and what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to get. Don't just do it. So at the end of the day, as we go down the site, as you can see, we have other services here, so on. And I can take you to many of the other pages, again, and guess what? We have video services up here. Notice it's not huge as it was, but it's up there, as you can see. So these things are pretty important. And just so you know, there's some tags behind here, which I don't want to get technical in this because I know it gets really difficult when you get technical, but this is what they see. So a robot comes in here and starts crawling this beautiful, amazing website and says, hey, how can I learn more about this website? So it starts looking for information on what is it that it has. And as you can see, as we're as we go down, and let's make this a little larger, it's kind of showing me exactly what is this? Where am I going? Where am I going? Let's go to, by the way, what this look here is showing us what it looks like on a mobile device, on another device other than yours.
So Ray, let's say somebody watching this wants to make sure that they don't have the word home in the wrong place, or let's say they want to change the large text. Can you go into the back end of your site on here and show where they can edit that?
So I can, but it's going to take a little bit more time because getting in is a process and we only have a certain amount of time. But we can definitely, what we could do, I can tell you what we can do next time. What we can do, if people like this and they show that they're interested into this, we can make this part of the process, right? And we can have this on a weekly basis and go over exactly what we're trying to achieve, which is we want to share that information. We want to show you guys what you need to do. But I'm not always good with just letting them go in, letting people go into their own websites, because if they make a mistake, if something does occur, something can go wrong. And if you're not my client, because I take care of my clients, if something goes wrong, I try to fix it. What they do, or they'll call me, they'll reach out to me. And if they break something, they're going to say, hey, that guy on Facebook, on YouTube told me to do X, Y, and Z. And no, I don't want that responsibility. So that's something I don't want. So that's why you come with the basics. And what they do is then they go to people like us, right? Hey, how can we do this for businesses? Hey, how can I have a roofing company? I need help with my SEO. Again, and we're going to give you the opportunity of showing you stuff as well with how you do and what makes you a good SEO guy for roofers, with that niche, which is a great niche, by the way.
So another thing that you and I were doing right before this was we would go in, if you take your company and you go into Google and you type in the service that you do, like roof repair, you're going to see your competitors and who shows up on the first page of Google and who doesn't and that sort of thing. And you may have been looking at that wondering, how do I get higher up? Why is this company always at this level? And so one of the things that Ray and I were looking at before was we were comparing one of the sites that we manage to their competitors. And we were able to see, okay, this website that we manage is showing up on the first page of Google for these search phrases.
Right.
Whereas the competitors weren't, or vice versa. So for example, if one of your competitors is showing up for roof repair in this city, but I'm not showing up on that, like that data then informs me, what can I create on my website in order to show up for that phrase?
That's amazing. The weird part about that, you saying that is phenomenal. The people don't understand that the cost to do all this work is man hours. It's not just like set it and forget it, we're done. So when they think about cost, hey, I want a website. Okay, all I have is $100, $200. They go, I got my website from Fiverr, I'm good. I'm gonna have a website, I'm fine. But the labor to get it up and to do all the work behind it is so much more. That's why I don't want to just go in and say, oh, it's that quick, it's that easy, because it's not. I'd be lying to you to tell you that it is. And again, and I'm not that good. Fiverr can tell you that, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to be factual, and trying to do what we're going to do. And one thing that we do, and I really pride myself with this, when we create these websites, is that when I find something wrong, because we update them every so often, we back them up. That's what we do. It's part of our service. We literally go in, and when we see something that we didn't do, that we didn't know, we backtrack and start adding those things on there. Fixing it. Hey, guess what? You're not really secured with your security. You do have an SSL, but we need to add some more security stuff on there. There's no way I'm going to charge you to do something that I'm protecting your server as well as our server. It's a good, it's a repair in a house or whatever. So no way. It's very imperative that you talk to your developer and says, hey, I just saw this video, and for some reason, I don't see my name up there top. Or, hey, I just saw this video and for some reason I'm not ranking. I'm on page 9, 10, 11, 12. Can you help me? Whatever. And I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 websites have been built with this mindset of, hey, I only have $200. Give me a website. I'm okay with $200, and we'll put it out. And as long as it looks good and you have nothing but pictures, I'm fine. Guess what, guys? Robots cannot read pictures. they can read the information in the picture if you label it correctly, but
If you label it.
but most people don't label it correctly.
Right.
So
And that's another part of like SEO. Like you gotta go in there and you gotta label a photo.
it's
The
so
little
again, so but some people want to know, and those are like easy things that we can figure out and we can discuss. If you want to know, well, of course we'll tell them what to do. Again, what we're trying to do is trying to grow this here and trying to let people know that we exist and we want to help you. We love to help people, especially while we have clients that can continue to support us and put us in a position to give them information, because not only people that don't know me are going to get this, people that do know me, people who subscribe to my channel, they're getting this to your channel, and that's the goal. So people are going to understand what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to make the world accessible. Oh my goodness, accessible. So make it easy. One thing I have around here, which is where is it? Google's mission statement. I don't even know where it's at. Is to make the internet accessible for everyone and universally. That's what they want. I'm sorry if I don't have the correct verbiage, but that's what they're looking for.
That's a good point. Like Google wants to provide the user with the best information that relates to their search. So if your website is slow, then Google will not consider it the best, because the user will have to wait for your websites to load. Nobody wants to wait. So SEO is something that works on your website. Part of SEO is to work on your website to speed it up so the end user enjoys it, and so that Google shows it. Because if your website's slow, Google's not going to show it, or whatever other, like there's so many areas, but Google's looking for the best sites that convert in order to show that to the customers.
Yeah, because if for some reason they go to your website and they leave, that gives it a high bounce rate. And high bounce rate means you just got there and you left. They don't want that. That means it's not a good user experience. Right. That's why user experience is big. Why did they make mobile responsive being the top tier for search? Because how many people do searches on their phone versus on the other thing? On regular device desktop. And again, it's mobile has surpassed that number big time. So it's a key factor when we're talking about SEO specific. But again, that's why these are things that when you have a developer or when you whoever you have, all you have to do is create a relationship and ask these questions and again, and take it to that level. Again, there's many good people everywhere, Fiverr included. There's many good people, but just finding them and trusting that they won't do the bad thing would be the next step of you figuring out in your business. But again, just think about it that way. But what do you think about this conversation today, Steve?
Yeah, it's good. I feel like we were kind of like shooting at all these different topics. And it's just like, we talk about one thing about SEO and it makes me think of another thing and another thing. There's so many layers.
Welcome to live video right now.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll put it down in the chat. If anyone wants to kind of has a question or thinks that this is something valuable, let us know, and we'll try to make this a weekly thing, and we'll kind of come out here and have a live session, and you'll be able to ask us questions while we're here, and we'll answer the best that we can, right? Especially if I was a roofing company, I would say, hey, you know what? Let me ask this guy a question. So and I have a couple of roofers I deal with, and again, and like I mentioned to you, I remember when we built their websites years ago. Man, there's so much optimization that has to be done in their sites, and we're going to do that because why wouldn't we? Again, and it's not about. It has nothing to do with them paying additional fees, because that's irrelevant. It's about doing the right thing. And again, and my clients, they're very special to me because they have me on text availability. So, which I'm sure your clients as well has that ability. I would imagine they do. I don't know.
Oh yeah, one thing I love about SEO is that it keeps on giving. For example, you put $1,000 into pay-per-click,
right? Ads, Google ads.
Google ad. Within 24 hours, that money's spent.
Yes.
And it's done working for you. You put $1,000 into SEO, and for the next 6 months, you're going to be getting like leads from that SEO.
Right. That's right. So, and I have a lot to say about that, because I also do ads, as well, and we do a very good job with ads.
There's a
But certain-
strategy for both. It's just
yeah, it's like
there's a
such a.
strategy for both.
So I would give the client this, I would give them this option. Say, hey, do you want to get customers today? And then when we start, or do you want to get them, within 3-4 months as they
Right.
come
Or
by one by. But again, that one and done is, we're doing this, spending this money, we're putting this time in there. You're gonna get customers, you're gonna get calls. Let me rephrase that. Not to get customers, you're gonna get phone calls because you're not good salesman. It may not work, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, guess what? And then also, if you have ads and your website is not a really good converter, doesn't have all the call to actions and all the information on there, that may be a bad thing as well, spending all that money. So versus SEO, you put the time in there trying to do this stuff, and that's part of the process. But I will admit that many people don't know this SEO world, going to the website. So I think we're talking very high level because this is what we do every day. But we got to kind of try to keep it normalized. I think it's the word, so not layman, it's just normalized.
yeah, so I've noticed at least in the roofing industry, like there's going to be seasons where you get a lot of leads and seasons where you don't. And that's where having PPC or pay-per-click or ads ready to go for that slow season. And or if you're in a growth stage where like you're scaling your company and let's say you hire somebody new, you want to be able to have that switch to flip to fill up their schedule with leads.
Very
and
nice.
Part of that's going to be the Google ads. So you want to have Google ads set up at the same time you're doing, you honestly want to do both, but of course everything comes down to your strategy and budget and so on, of course. But there are advantages to having both and being accessible. If you wait too long to do one versus the other, it's good to get them both set up and running, even if it's not full speed, to at least be moving in that direction is always better.
Agreed. So now I don't know how much time has gone by because I didn't start timing this, but I imagine it's quite a bit, but I hope this was good. It was great for me, just having a casual conversation with you, talking about this world that we live in, which we love, we call SEO. And we could definitely do this again. I'm going to let the audience decide if we want to continue to do this live or just have it privately. But again, we know it takes time for it to build up. So we'll do a couple of episodes playing around, and you're going to kind of be able to give us, tell us our roofers on what's a good idea, things that you're seeing that are bad, that we can maybe talk about making that good. And I will do the same thing with businesses, which, I have a couple of roofers, but I don't specialize with them. So that'll be a great opportunity for you to meet and talk with these, just have conversations with roofers. So that's pretty awesome. Well, Steve, thank you so much for today. I appreciate you giving me the time, or us being able to hang out and talk like as we always do. And it's an amazing time that you and I have spent, and I look forward to doing this again. All right.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. I'll talk to you soon.